got the bag in my pocket when the cops pull me over. Shawty like, damn, why you not coming over? Wanna draw some bands on a rover. She just wanna party and don't plan on being sober. Never gotta flex when I cash out, broke boy. Always gotta checks in the racks out, oh boy. Always gotta check if she passed out. No point if I'm getting less when I max out. Tell me she forgot last night, of course. Used to rock Nike and Mike, of course. Used to have a dream I would buy a Porsche. Begging for the bag, I'm on life support. It's like we in the lobby, you ain't ready to. All I did was wait, now I got more stake. They like, why you so ahead of us? They say it hurts, I'm like, I bet it does. Why you always talk like we listen? Big mouth, probably turn the block to a kitchen. I got hits out. Can you hit me with the follow? I don't mind, tell me why you never called her. Tell me she forgot last night, of course. Used to rock Nike and Mike, of course. Used to have a dream I would buy a Porsche. Begging for the bag, I'm on life support. Now they wanna bet on us. It all happened like I said it would. Runners up, they like, why you still ahead of us? They say it hurts, I'm like, I bet it does. I might pull the ice out. When I'm rolling, I go lights out. Not got bodies on me right now. Now one shawty on me lie down. Tell me she forgot last night, of course. Used to rock Nike and Mike, of course. Used to have a dream I would buy a Porsche. Begging for the bag, I'm on life support. It's like we in the lobby, you ain't ready to. All I did was wait, now I got more stake. They like, why you so ahead of us? They say it hurts, I'm like, I bet it does. I might pull the ice out. When I'm rolling, I go lights out. Not got bodies on me right now.
Peace, beloved, peace. It's your homie, Young Content, the unofficial sensei of the culture, mastering youthfulness, contentment, and NFTs. I got the guru surround me, gang, gang, and we have a very, very special show. 26 episodes in. We have the legend of Rizzle in the building. Without further ado, welcome Rizzle to the show. How are you, my brother?
It's an honor to be here, man. Big shout out to Walshy for putting me in contact with you and setting this up, dude. I'm excited to be here.
Dude, I'm excited to talk to you. I know we all are. I have to first ask the gurus, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. Good. It's good to be here again. Thanks for having me back, and I really can't complain. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, doing good. I think it's the first time I've had coffee on stream instead of beer, so it's going to be
Can you show
a
us?
new
Can you
experience
prove
for
it?
me.
Can you prove it?
I can't. You just have to take my word on this
Is
one,
that
guys.
spiked coffee, dude? I'm just joking.
It's Ireland.
What up, Dead? How you doing, bro? How you feeling?
Everything's great, baby. Happy to be with the boys, and glad to have Rizzle on the show with us. It's good times.
Dude, and Rizzle, how was your day? How are you feeling with the mania of NFTs? Are you how you feeling with all that jazz?
I'm good, dude. I'm going in the opposite direction of coffee, and I'm actually having a beer while we're hanging out here. So cheers, y'all. I'm excited for the show. Shit is mania, though, dude. There's no doubt about that. I went away. I had a wedding to go to. I was in my buddy's wedding over the weekend, and I was joking around on Twitter that I missed like 3 animal species, like just being gone for the weekend. But I'm not even kidding, man. These like the fat penguins came out and like all this shit over the weekend. Missed every single one. And of course, like the weekend that I go away, like the successful drops happen. Then, you know, not the ones that I ape into during the week or when I'm available. So shit's moving fast, dude. It's like hard to keep track. I'm sure you guys are seeing the same type of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to the chat, guys. That Twitter post is out. Retweet that. Rizzle, I tagged you in there too. Let your audience know. But yeah, people are coming in. Thoughts on people already asking questions. Holy moly! First off, I wanted to ask you, Rizzle, from the dojo. I always ask every guest, from Ben Morrow to Crypto Stash, what do you love to do?
Have fun. Dude, I think at the heart, I just love to have fun and fuck around with people, man. And I get to do it for a living somehow, dude. Somehow that worked out.
Do people know you on Twitter as that, Walshy? How did you meet Rizzle, and like what attracted you to him? Because you put me on him, so I'm really fucking loving his posts and all he's doing.
Well, I kind of forget actually. I don't remember if I first kind of saw Rizzle in the Token Smart Discord during like one of your Matt and Rizzle shows, or if it was just through Twitter, because I started collecting in about January through Top Shot. Obviously, I branched off and diversified into some other NFTs, and one of the first ones was Avastars. So I feel like I might have seen you in the Token Smart Discord and then just started following your Twitter account. Anyways, there was one particular day that kind of changed everything for old Walshy, and that was one day I was I was going through crypto Twitter and trying to find anybody that was willing to trade me an Avastar for any number of Top Shot moments that I had. Nobody wanted to. Nobody was buying it. All right. So I was going through Twitter, just asking person after person, you know, I got these moments. Would you be willing to trade for an Avastar? I really want one. And all of a sudden, Rizzle swooped into my DMs and said, dude, I like your hustle. Look through these Avastars, and if there's one you like, you can have it.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, I can't even believe that somebody I don't know would give me something. You know what I mean? That just blew me away. So, and there's a short story I can elaborate on with that. That one Avastar allowed me to start doing consignments on the Avastars platform, which snowballed into multiple consignments, which for those of you unfamiliar, that equates to a small amount of ETH. I was making ETH whenever I was making these consignments on Avastars.
Dude, you were making money on the consignments? You just showed me how to do that. I'm like, nobody makes money on these consignments, dude. Sorry, go ahead, man.
That one Avastar that you gave me, Rizzle, it snowballed into the exact amount is 1.26 ETH that I earned through the course of Series 3 to Series 5. With that 1.26 ETH, I was able to buy everything that I have now. Basically, I haven't unloaded any more money into ETH. I bought my ape. I bought my everything that I have.
Game changing.
It was game changing, and plus it got me into the whole Avastars world, which is where I spend 90% of my days now as a mod. So that's the story of Rizzle and how I met Rizzle, and why I, you know what I mean? I really respect you, Rizzle, for that. Thank you.
Wow, give me goosebumps, man.
That's touching. Holy shit!
I wasn't expecting a Walshy origin story there. That was really cool.
Holy shit, dude! I mean,
I didn't know the Walshy origin story until right then.
That's the power.
Yeah, that's sick.
That's the power of your influence, my brother. I mean, the title of the stream is called "The Legend of Rizzle: The Avastar Story," and you know, for people that don't know you, for the layman, for people that don't know you, can you give them the elevator pitch? Who are you, and why are you a force of nature?
Sure, man. Let's see. Long-term tinkerer with crypto, going all the way back to like 2012, 2013. But really fell in love with NFTs when they hit the scene. Started a podcast with my buddy Matt, which has been ongoing for a couple of years now, approximately, called the Matt and Rizzle Show, where we just, you know, talk about NFTs, have guests on to talk about NFTs, you know, very similar to what we're doing here. Let's see, about a year and a half ago, one of our podcast guests was Jim McNellis, who is the original founder of NFT42, which is the parent company of Avastars, Token Smart, Nameless, a billion other things. Him and I hit it off, met him in person in NFT NYC during a famous rant where he like yelled at Nike for sucking, that I like co-signed on that presentation. And it was sort of egging Jim on. And so it was shortly thereafter brought on as the original co-founder of NFT42, which we were talking before the show. It's nuts to think that it was just me and Jim in the beginning, but now they got like tons of investors, many employees. I exited about 6 weeks ago on good terms, just basically being like, you know, dude, I'm ready to go do my own thing. Let's get me out of my non-compete so I can sort of spread my wings here and have a great relationship with Jim and NFT42 to this day. But it's been a fucking whirlwind, man. I'm not gonna lie, the past like year and a half or so.
Why do you think that whole why were you attracted to Jimmy and NFT42? What was it about that, and what did you guys do? What did you guys build? Was it fun? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn a lot? And what kind of nuggets did you take away after you left?
That's a good question, man. So a couple things. I really like Jim. I liked Jim right off the bat because even though I don't agree with everything Jim says, Jim does not hold back. And so I felt like I can get a read on this dude. Like I know where he stands for better or for worse. I really liked him yelling at the Nike presentation because Nike was trying to patent like all this bullshit about blockchain. And so I immediately got in Jim's ear and I was like, yes, dude. I was like, this is what Disney tries to do. All these fuckers just send out their lawyers and try to patent all this shit. They don't know what they're doing. So I like Jim's bravado to just straight up stand up in the middle of a conference and like give him the deal. But what I genuinely started to appreciate about like Avastars and his whole mantra was I felt like he was way out in front of the whole on-chain narrative. Which is really starting to get noticed now. And his basic premise was like when people buy NFTs, their default assumption is that they assume the NFT lives on the blockchain, not on some third-party website, not IPFS. And so his whole thing with Avastars, which is essentially like a proof of concept that you could put all this stuff directly on the blockchain, was that all NFTs should be like this. This is what we should be striving towards. Even if we can't get there now, this is end goal. And here is Avastars as proof that we can do something like that. So I really felt like he was 2 steps in front of everybody else in terms of how he was thinking about the space. And so immediately started like pestering him and like bothering him and like hitting him up in DMs. I was like, dude, you should fucking hire me. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know what you're on to, and we can like blow this shit up together. And it wasn't too long that we brought Nate Alex on after that, who's like OG, like, killer developer of Chain Faces and Squiggly, what the fuck, and, a bunch of other things. Yeah, man, that's pretty much how we met each other. And Avastars was his brainchild, but it didn't take much for me to... Full disclosure, man, I wasn't even like a huge fan of the art. It's sort of grown on me over time, but like
Wow.
the concept behind it, I really, really believed in and felt like, if NFTs are going to be the thing, this is the path forward, putting them all on the blockchain and not having to depend on, third-party websites and shit.
Wow. Walshy, when Gary V collabed with Avastars, that was kind of a historic moment. Was that a feel-good moment for you too, Rizzle? I mean, you kind of talk about that.
So that just happened, man. So I'm a little bit out of the loop with the collaboration and how that like ensued and everything, but because I exited about 6 weeks ago or so, I was there for the Gary V drop. I actually interviewed Gary V on Token Smart. It was pretty dope. I didn't really know what to expect. I'm not like huge in the Gary V loop, but he was actually great, man, and like really fun to talk to and everything. The Avastars Gary V drop is cool, I think, because, and Walshy and I were talking a little bit about this beforehand, like Gary V really onboarded a ton of people who didn't know shit about crypto or like NFTs or anything. And so I feel like this collaboration is a good thing because you get a lot of those people like one step deeper into the ecosystem, interested in a project that, has some history and like credibility within the space. It's not like they just airdropped a bunch of fucking random like NFT bananas on them or something. It's like, actually a product with some history and like longevity and shit. So I wonder if like his fans will appreciate that aspect of it. But I also think like, Gary V's fans are crazy, man. If he like told them they should appreciate it, they'll be like, yes, Gary V, we appreciate it.
I'm gonna leave the floor open to the gurus to talk and give a question because I feel like I've been hogging up the floor for the great old Rizzle.
Go ahead, Walsh.
I'll ask a question, Rizzle, that I think I've tried to explain this before, and obviously it's kind of a tough thing to explain. Since I got into the NFT space, the people who I kind of looked up to, they were always adamant that things should be on chain and that it was important that things are on chain and you should look for collectibles that are on chain. Do you have a certain way of explaining why it's important for things to be on chain that maybe might help our viewers understand a little bit better?
So I think it's important for some things to be on chain, and I think honestly for some things it doesn't matter like quite as much, or isn't practical in the short term. Why does it matter? Dude, if I'm buying like a really expensive piece of art, like I want to make sure that shit's not going anywhere is really like what it is. So, you know, if that piece of art lives entirely on the blockchain, then I'm not leaning on a third-party website to support some of the images or some of the data. I'm not leaning on IPFS to like, you know, for the blockchain to put a call out to like pull up the image or anything like that. You know, if you buy something that's all on chain, you know, as long as the blockchain is alive, that, you know, piece of art, that, you know, NFT is alive. I don't always think that matters. I mean, there are like a lot of really cool projects that are like, you know, done in a super low effort, like not on chain way, that I think are cool, you know, and I think, you know, demonstrate that it doesn't always matter, and that there is like a lot of possibilities and utility for NFTs that are not on chain. But like, you know, I see some of these like big celebrities, influencers, athletes coming out who are putting out some janky NFTs for like a ton of money.
Janky,
you know,
as fuck.
Was that?
Janky as fuck.
Janky as fuck, man, right? And, you know, if I'm buying, you know, if I'm dumping $5,000 into an NFT of like my favorite celebrity or athlete, which I would never do for like, you know, clarity's sake. But if I'm doing something like that, I want to make sure that shit is on chain, and that I'm not, you know, a lot of these are being spun out on like pop-up platforms. I don't want to depend on any of that stuff, man. If I'm buying something expensive, I want it like, you know, locked down for real.
This is a bad example because I'm not a fan of alt punks, and I don't necessarily agree that certain things should be allowed to exist certain places. But an example that I can use from personal experience is I did buy a funk because they were just flying off the shelves. So I bought one to flip. And of course, after I flipped the first funk, I bought another to flip again. But what happened was they were removed from OpenSea. So no big deal. I can still do my business elsewhere on Cargo or Rarible or what have you. It just makes it a hell of a lot harder when I can no longer view that item on the biggest marketplace in the metaverse, essentially. So maybe it's not the best example, though. You know, had things played out differently, had this been a fully on-chain collectible, I think that there would have been more collectability there, and I wouldn't have been as fucked over as I was.
Yeah, dude, I bought a funk. I think I have 2 funks sitting around here somewhere. I have no idea where they are because I can't look at them on OpenSea, because OpenSea is like the gatekeeper, right? You know, I wonder like when people will start to, at some point, I sort of thought it was going to be the funks, man. I'm wondering when OpenSea makes some call that is going to make like everyone realize like, oh shit, this is like a giant centralized gatekeeper that is, you know, not inherently evil or doing something wrong, but sort of flies in the face of like, you know, decentralization, which is sort of at the core of this whole thing. So I bought a couple funks as like, I don't know, some sort of shitty like armchair protest of like decentralization, where I'm like, you know, this, and I don't, it's a tough rub, right? Because I don't agree with like artists getting their artwork stolen. But at the same time, I also don't think that there's a good way to stop it. And so, you know, I don't think censorship, I feel like we got to come up with a better way, right? We're moving into like a decentralized world. So we're just not going to be able to centralize things after a while. Someone's going to make a decentralized OpenSea where all the funks are going to turn up, and we're going to be able to see all the shit that like they didn't want us to see. And, you know, that's inevitably going to happen. So I feel like, even though I don't agree with like artists getting their artwork stolen or like copyright infringement or anything, I feel like, you know, we're moving into a different era where we got to establish some better solutions other than just like straight up censorship. And maybe that is where the blockchain comes in, where we can just like shame all these like, you know, knockoffs into, you know, obviously we all know there's knockoff. These are knockoffs. Here they are on the blockchain. You can check out their like, you know,
yeah, like a filtering process. I've always said don't
know.
censor, filter, you know, if you have to.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't like the straight up like censorship of like almost anything. But I, you know, retain the right to double back on that statement if like an artist I know gets ripped off.
Guys, I want to get to the chat because it's kind of blowing up. Shout out to Robert Pager. They said they removed like 50 projects because they had Basquiat in the name. Isaiah Vega, welcome. Marty McFly, he has an Avastar in his profile. That's fucking cool. He said Pro Funk. Alex C. Michael Standen, Influence, always here. Alex C. Who else is here? Opti Art. Welcome to the stream, guys. Thanks for being here. Tell Grandma. And so, Rizzle, knowing where you stand on that, what is the story of your profile pic, PFP, and why do you have that as your PFP? I was just trying to unpack that. What is that thing, dude?
Oh, sure. It's a hot pepper. I recently rebranded myself into a hot pepper. I had an Avastar for a very long time and still have that Avastar. It's like, you know, very near and dear to my heart. It was given to me by Jim shortly after I joined the company. And so I felt like I had been sort of like knighted with the Avastar that I, you know, had as my profile picture for a long time. But, you know, felt like this is a new chapter. You know, I left the company. I'm, you know, going to do like a rebrand. You know, the rebrand may or may not get incorporated into my personal project in like some type of capacity. So, you know, actually, dude, my like low key theory is I feel like we're eventually going to move past these like mass profile picture projects, and people are going to move on to like sourcing individual artworks and like individual profile pictures from artists as their profile pictures. So this was like my attempt maybe to sort of get ahead of the curve, or if not, like get a dope profile picture from one of my favorite artists. And it wasn't like a super huge departure. There's been like, you know, from my old profile picture, it had like a fire helmet on it. I had done like a run of NFT hot sauce. So like sort of keeping the fire
The hot
helmet,
ones of NFTs
like,
here.
yeah, turning into a hot pepper, like almost, you know, sort of somehow still fits like the overall narrative. But I'm doing a collaboration with NFT snapbacks, and they actually printed out some like really dope snapbacks with my old Rizzle Avastar on the top. So
Ooh.
eventually I'll go back to that, at least like temporarily. I'll probably like bounce back and forth, something like that.
That's great. That's great. I didn't know it was that OG to you, and it meant like some sentimental value. So that's cool. Are you a spicy meat kind of guy? You eat you like spicy alpha? You drop spicy alpha all the time on your Twitter? Like, what are you, a spicy type of guy?
Yeah, dude, I like to sweat through my meals in my Twitter feed.
Rizzle, is your Avastar, is that an exclusive, or is it a founder, or you're just rocking one that you liked?
Yes, no, it's an exclusive. Yeah, so I've actually had like some fairly significant bids on it. After I took it down, I had like a pretty high bid on it, but I couldn't, like, I don't know, man. I'm like one of these people. We interviewed Song a Day guy, you know, Song a Day guy.
John Mann?
Song a Day Man. Yeah, sorry.
Or his name's John. Isn't his name John Mann or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Anyway, when we interviewed him, I didn't realize he was like such an OG in the space, and he like had some sentiments that like really like struck me to the core. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he was saying like, you know, in the early days, he was just getting NFTs because he loved them with like no intention of like ever reselling them, you know, and you know, for that reason only bought one of some things that he should have bought like multiples of. But he was just like, you know, I just want this. I love it. I don't want to resell it. And that's sort of how I feel about like my Rizzle Avastar and like a handful of other NFTs. It's like, you know, some of these things are like priceless items in my household. It's like, you know, you could offer to pay me for it, but I'm like, dude, that's like my thing. Like,
I'm not leaving. You're not leaving, bro. You're not leaving your collection. You love your collection, that's for sure.
Can I chime in real quick, Young? Is that all right, bud?
Say it again?
Do you mind if I chime in really quickly?
Of course, bro.
Rizzle, you said that you think we're going to, I obviously agree, we're going to evolve past these animal profile pictures eventually. Do you have like a vision as to where you think things are going in the immediate future versus like maybe in the more distant future?
Dude, yeah.
Give us some Rizzle futurism, please. Give us some futuristic Rizzle right now.
Dude, I think, well, so for example, dude, you know, I left NFT42 to work on my own personal project, which is coming along nicely. I believe in it very much. But I really feel like the attention is going to shift to like metaverse and like interoperability and some of these like innovations that we've been talking about for a long time, but sort of got like, you know, kicked to the wayside with all this like hype and the profile picture stuff. To be fair, I don't know if the profile picture stuff goes away like anytime soon. You know, it doesn't really seem like that's a bubble that's going to pop. I'm guilty of like buying some of these things. Like I like them. They're like, you know, some of them have zero utility at all, but they're funny and like I want them. And I think there are people out there like that who will drive these markets who like aren't necessarily interested in, you know, trying to make this bubble as big as humanly possible. We've actually like succeeded in through NFTs creating like multiple different types of collectibles that people just want to straight up collect. So I don't think that goes anywhere, but I'm personally trying to lean more heavily. I don't like this whole like Facebook metaverse shit. I don't.
The
I feel like
Zuck.
we sort of got,
Fuck the Zuck.
yeah, dude. I feel like we've gotten sidetracked from like this whole like interoperable metaverse mantra that like everyone was pushing for a long time. That like, you know, you got one thing that works in like all the places, but we've got all these virtual worlds popping up that have their own currency, their own like gated shit that you can only get if you have their stuff. And so I'd like to personally see the push being made back towards you know, the open metaverse, interoperability, decentralization stuff that everyone was like all about in the beginning. But like, dude, COVID happened and like shit got wild. All these like randos came in here and, you know, like care about different stuff, which is cool. But, you know, that's not what I care about.
It got tribal really quickly, I found.
It got tribal, but sorry, Walsh.
No, go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, like you actually touched upon one of my biggest pet peeves, like personally, because like, you know, part of my job title for Delphi is like metaverse analyst as well. And I've talked with like Pierce Kicks about this, and it's the like being able to distinguish between metaverse and virtual world, and like those should not be two interchangeable terms. So every single PFP project that you guys are looking at, and they're like, we're going to be in the metaverse. It's like, no, they're building out probably really janky virtual worlds, or jumping into another virtual world where they're going to drop some of their IP. Like those, that is not the metaverse. Like the metaverse is so much bigger and more mind-boggling in scope, and like it's going to be a long time before we get there, and there's a lot of pieces to be built out. Like the metaverse isn't coming anytime soon, and probably 99.9% of metaverses are really just virtual worlds. You should just call them video games.
Jeremy, don't you think we just need the Neuralink already, and that's it? We'll be in the metaverse. That's it.
That's it, man. And we wouldn't even be talking. We'd just be sending brave waves over the internet. You know.
Ooh, Friday the 13th is in 2 days. Holy shit.
Right. Exactly.
DeadStock, you have anything to chime in? I know you always got some fucking deep stuff to talk about. I know you got something you're aiming. I see in your eyes.
I mean, I agree with most of the stuff. I mean, I definitely agree that in the end we're going to be having a lot of things where we're looking towards the foundation of it, the immutability of it, making sure that a lot of this stuff is protected, and we could do stuff like the funks and really not get funked over by it. I do agree with Rizzle in the sense that these PFPs are not going to go anywhere. In the sense, you know, they're low-hanging fruit, and they're just going to keep popping up, and there's only going to be new people coming in. And even though we don't like a lot of the Facebook bullshit and, you know, Mark Cuban coming in and like just doing all these centralized things, they do have money to move, but of course they're going to be moving slower. They haven't put any of these teams together yet. Clearly, they're just making these announcements, and in the end, those are going to be still the gateways where a lot of these people are going to get in. You know, a lot of people got in through Top Shot, and then they got into NFTs. A lot of people got in through one thing or the other, and then were able to be introduced to creating a MetaMask, writing down their seed phrase, and getting in on OpenSea and doing all this other stuff. So it's going to come from all levels, and I think it's important for those of us that feel the way we do now is to continually cultivate, just like Rizzle is creating a project where we can put our vision and put our fingerprint onto this landscape, because it's still so early to do so.
Word. I got a question for you, Rizzle. Great point, DeadStock. I saw Jimmy's interview with Gary V, and he was very passionate when he was talking about CryptoKitties and breeding, and it was like the thing. It was like the fucking alchemy of the day. No one knew how to do the shit. And
Yeah.
Is that something that you grew up into? Like, I mean, that was the early days for you, right? CK, that whole jazz. What did that mean to you? And do you still see potential in CK with being on Flow and all that jazz?
So interestingly enough, man, I wasn't like deep into CryptoKitties. I sort of stumbled upon them late. I was sort of like a power user of a crypto social media platform called Scent back in the day, which has like gone through like a couple iterations and is like totally different than what it was. But it was pretty popular in the early like crypto art scene. And so in the very early days of NFTs, that's where my attention was like mostly focused in the upcoming like art scene and everything. And it was really dope, man, because, you know, for like $10-15 you could buy like, you know, 2-3 pieces of like really awesome crypto art from like, you know, awesome up and coming artists. And collectibles weren't really my thing, man. I knew CryptoKitties was out there. I didn't really get it. I was like, I don't want like cats that I can just pay money to make more cats. I didn't really understand. It sort of seemed like a pyramid scheme to me. And until, you know, honestly, dude, I started like cycling through the CryptoKitties one day and thought the bios were hilarious. And so I actually just started like randomly sending one to my wife, like periodically with like a really stupid name and like this ridiculous bio. And she was like, why the hell are you sending me these things? And so it sort of became like a household meme type of thing. Like every now and again, this random cat would just show up in her like email and you know, I let her know. And so that's how I sort of came upon CryptoKitties. They got an interesting like situation to sort of uncork right now in terms of like how many are out there and how many different types are out there and how many of them that are out there look exactly the same as all the other ones that are out there, which is like a big differentiating factor in these profile pictures where every single one is unique in, you know, in some way. But I feel like there's almost no way they don't have their renaissance in some capacity, right? Whether it's like some of the early rare ones or like the Generation Zero, it's just like such an OG project. It was like the first one done on that specific token standard. So, you know, I feel like people who've been sitting on CryptoKitties for a long time are probably going to do all right. I have a bunch of like shitty floor ones from like 2019 that I just thought their bios were funny. So I don't think I'm going to get rich or anything.
No, that's bio gold right there. That's like an ENS.
The bios are so funny, dude.
Do you think some of these Renaissance? Sorry.
Go ahead, Jeremy. No, go ahead, Jeremy.
And then you go dead after.
I was just thinking. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I've heard a lot of people talking about Renaissance, and I was talking to Trent earlier from a new upcoming project called JPEG that looks really interesting. It's like a curation sort of tool. And, like, do you think maybe some of these Renaissance happen when we do get better curation tools and we have more galleries and, like, eventually there's, like, literally, like, a crypto art, like, wing in the MoMA and all these different, like, museums? Like, imagine when people are actually able to visualize, like, NFT history in a more, like, curated way, and people go, oh, shit, like, CryptoKitties is the OG, it was the first. And that's where like it really clicks with the collectors, a lot of people who are new to the space, because a lot of people who got onboarded into Top Shot and have become whales since then probably don't know the significance of CryptoKitties. So like once a couple of these different like protocol layers and tools kind of unlock the legacy of these projects, maybe that's where some of the Renaissance really like kicks off, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, I agree with that like 100%. I feel like that is one of the huge things that's lacking in the industry right now is just some sort of like organizational method to see all the stuff that's out there. Between me and you, man, I sort of hope that it doesn't happen like real soon, because if you know what you're doing, which I'm sure all of us do, you can like scrape a lot of shit off of like different platforms that people have forgotten they've like left on sale over, you know, on Rarible or on Cargo. And, you know, if you know what to look for, you can pick up some stuff on the cheap because there's really just no good way of seeing everything that's out there. I like tagged OpenSea on a post. I'm like, dude, I would love to just be able to filter through like all the projects from 2017. Like, you know, just break it down for me, like art, collectibles, you know, whatever. Like
someone's listening to
like,
this right now.
Just by like a fucking year, like, you know, that kind of thing. So I feel like we're so far like in the dark ages in terms of being able to actually like see the landscape, see what's out there. I mean, people are still like randomly discovering projects. They're like, oh, by the way, this came before autoglyphs, and like nobody knew about it. It was just like
Cryptoons. They're calling them Cryptoons. Like, this was the first, you know. I've been seeing that. Everyone's trying to get me to buy some Cryptoons, some crypto tunes. I'm like, these fucking mooses. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I remember
I saw a cool horse.
Somebody discovered Etheria. Maybe that was more than a few months ago now, but there was a big debacle that opened up as to whether or not Etheria was actually the first NFT project that was released. And I know there was a big debate about that raging on Twitter. And every once in a while, an old historical project seems to reemerge. And yeah, it's like you say, there's a big frenzy over it to try to collect this piece of history. And then in most cases, they get forgotten about. Now, Mooncats might be an exception, but yeah, in most cases, these projects, they just seem to pop up, hype really hard, and then vanish by the wayside.
Yeah. DeadStock, you had something to say? I know you had a question on. You have one.
On both of them, yeah. I think for CryptoKitties, the same way that there's like an oversupply at this point, they could definitely introduce some kind of burn mechanism, just like Avastars or just like the Goats are doing, or a lot of these newer projects are coming out with, where they would just literally flip the scripts, and then it would make it worth it, which would not only drive people just purchasing more, but also, like Rizzle said, scooping up and arbitraging a lot of the good ones that are available that people just forgot about. And then also with this historic stuff, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. While everybody's literally like you put out the quotes today, people are like, what are we jumping into next? In the end, like once people keep doing their research, they're going to keep discovering that there's only so many projects that came out initially. Talking 2016, Ethereum I think supposedly came out in 2015 towards the end of it, but especially 2017 with the Curio cards and the Mooncats and the CryptoPunks before them and the CryptoKitties right at the end of 2017, and that's kind of transitions right into when OpenSea started, which is right at the end of that bull run is where OpenSea started, 2017 going into 2018. So it's it's going to be interesting to see what happens and what actually holds weight going into long run.
For real. You had something to say, Rizzle? I know you had something to say right there.
Dude, I was just gonna say, man, it makes my heart happy that people are aping into these historical projects, even if it doesn't like last, or even if it's sort of like a flash in the pan, or we realize like, oh, okay, that wasn't like as historical as I thought. Dude, my like big fear for a long time was that we were just gonna sort of lose that whole narrative. And like, when Paris Hilton came into the scene, I feel like she was like the first like big celebrity, not knocking her like in any way. She's actually like handled herself better than most. But I felt like all of that was going to get like, kicked out the window, and everyone was just going to be all about like big IP, celebrities, sports, athletes. And again, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm a sports fan. I collect Top Shot as well. Although I haven't in a little bit, but the backswing that's happened recently to some of these historical projects, which I feel like has really picked up in the last like month or two, is fucking cool, man, because I feel like some of the OG like innovators are really starting to get their credit. It's starting to spread now a little bit to like the 101s, like, OG artists who have been on like Super Rare, Known Origin, Maker's Place, some of these spots that have been around for a long time. So this kind of stuff, I'm like, yes, man, like all these people built this space, and if there's anyone that deserves to make money, it's those people. So I love that stuff. I've bought into a few of those. I've lost some money, but I'm like, dude, the historical projects, like I feel like you sit on that stuff long enough, hopefully someone appreciates it, like like an archaeologist 10 years from now or something.
For real.
Well, it goes back into what we were talking about, like a lot of the stuff that we have right now, where we're talking about being on the blockchain, IPFS, and immutability. Like these little waves, they're just going to keep coming. And next thing is, obviously CryptoPunks popping off, and 3 Arrows bought 100 of them and swept the floor. But a lot of these other ones, like Mooncats and even Ethereum, like people are going to come in and just as they slowly collect it, like they're not going anywhere. And as people collect it, all of a sudden, it's going to take a few whales to just be like, oh, you guys didn't realize that these were getting bought up. And then that's the next thing people are going to be hopping on. And so it's going to be exciting to see, because I agree with you. Just pick your poison and stick with it, because a lot of times all you need is a few years to get paid off on that stuff, on your conviction.
For sure.
Yeah.
There was a project that Bulls on the Block said I got early access to, and it was Mayweather's project, and they were like, hey, dude, you get 70% off. It's fucking 1.5 ETH per mint. So that means it's going to be like it was 1.2 ETH. Now it's going to be 1.5 at mint. And I'm like, dude, I don't need to give Mayweather any more money. I don't give a fuck about getting a robe one day. That's
like, dude. Sorry.
Go ahead, you could go. You take the floor.
No, I was just like, I think you guys like are all like scratching at something that's like super, super important, because like with the celebrities and with these historical projects and the PFP thing, it's like with the old historical projects, like that's where all the OGs like built their cultural reference points. And those cultural reference points have built out crypto history. And right now, with all these different PFP projects we're going through right now, all the newcomers are having those new data points to build out their own cultural like references and their own cultural like relevance in the space. So I think when you look back at this time in space, like, even though PFPs are kind of driving us crazy, it's going to be a really special time and point in history, especially when it comes to crypto, because this is where a lot of people are going to be cutting their teeth. Now, I think why people perhaps have such an allergic reaction to the celebrities and all these people coming in, it's because it's very non-crypto native, and that's a very important point because crypto nativeness I think really resonates with people. And then
Yeah.
number two, there's not a lot of collectability there. It's more of like a status sync with a celebrity, which isn't as important here. And then the biggest point I
Mm.
think is there's zero utility and zero organic communities that have been built around these different celebrities, you know? And
It,
so
it,
like
it
nobody
seems
gives a
like
fuck.
it seems
Like
like
who
it seems like a cash grab when Bulls on the Block is like, dude, we partnered with Mayweather. I'm like, of course he had to use you. You know what I mean? You guys are building out a fucking thing that he
exactly,
doesn't
yeah.
understand. He needs to get access. So that
hmm
just goes across the board with Stoner Cats. I didn't get no
On
Stoner
the
Cats.
on the flip side, though, we need celebrities and people with money to come into the space because, as much as I hate to say it, there's a little elitism coming from the crypto people that, oh no, another celebrity, another cash grab. Like, we need these celebrities to come in and do this, just like we need projects to build out and fuck up and learn from it, because there's going to be other celebrities or other people coming up, or even younger influencers that are going to learn from what these people are doing. Because let's not lie, like, a lot of us are here because we enjoy the space, but we want to make money. So I'm not going to knock another rich person who's done successful in their life. They want to come into another space, just like they bought restaurants, just like they got into stocks. They want to make some money. They're going to get into something that's in the future. So eventually we need them to do that stuff because their influence is going to bring in on board more people. And that's only going to benefit all of us. So in the end, it's kind of, we have to open arms that stuff. And if we're going to, you always use the word egalitarian. If we're going to be egalitarians about it, then we have to be very open to these people coming in, maybe not delivering the best product or utility, but opening the door for other people to come in after them and be able to provide exactly what that utility might be missing.
What's your take on it, Riz?
Dude, I appreciate your point. I do appreciate your point. I'll counterpoint, but I agree with a lot of what you said, man. I feel like the problem is when these celebrities, sort of make this claim that they're doing this high-end NFT drop, they're going to be there in the community, they're going to do all this shit, and then they, leave their fans essentially holding the bag with a bad taste in their mouth of the entire space when, these people have the funds and the means necessary to, really nail some shit. But at this point, it's like really hard to trust. And I feel like, it gives a bad name to the space for a lot of these fans who are like, basically end up feeling like, why did I buy this thing? Now I just have a picture. It's not going up in value. Like, why would I buy more of these things? I'll tell you what though, dude, if MC Hammer did a fucking drop, I would buy the shit out of MC Hammer's drop. He's out there, man. You know what I mean? And he's not even trying to do an NFT drop, to my knowledge. If he is, it's like a fucking brilliant slow play.
Yeah,
because
slow play.
he's just out
Marinating.
here literally buying NFTs, retweeting like random people's crypto art, and genuinely seems to be like interested and involved in the space from like a pure collector's perspective. And I've never seen any of these celebrities be like, without it sounding like super forced, like, take interest in like the collectible aspect of the NFT space, or take interest in like, someone else's project. Every now and again, you see Mike Tyson throw out a tweet that's like, what NFT should I buy? And it's like, come on, man. Like,
That's your fucking agent. You fucking pigeon
But
flying
you know
motherfucker.
what? It's a great point that you make, though, because it is with their resources. We have 12-year-olds having successful drops with their NFTs, but you got these celebrities that have teams and with the money and the resources, and they're just like, the execution is so shit. But I'm with you on that, because how awesome would it be if, say, MC Hammer came out with like some kind of NFT called Hammer Time, and he did a collaboration with Fuckrender, and it was just like a legit
Yeah, bro.
NFT.
That's how you have to approach it.
I want wearable MC Hammer pants in the metaverse, right? What the fuck?
Right.
I would pay money for these like right now.
I want all the colors. I said it.
Yes, right. I want the limited edition gold, right? Oh, you only get the gold if it's
Got-
a 5 out of 5 or some shit like that.
I feel like we're one day away from Mark Wahlberg coming into NFTs. It just feels, I feel it in my soul, bro. I just feel like Mark Wahlberg is inching his way like a snake in this mug.
Do you think on the celebrity side of things, like I'm just like trying to think through this while you guys are talking. Do you like in crypto, whenever you spin up a new project, by fact and by like, virtue of it being immutable and like on the blockchain forever, like there's actually a huge responsibility that comes with that, whether you're creating a creator coin or like dropping an NFT, and like that actually like plays a part in like people's like financial freedom and like, financial just world. Maybe the celebrities coming in just don't quite understand that, because that's a big concept to wrap your head around, and these guys are just used to like selling tons of stuff, and this is selling something different. Like this, when you sell something as an NFT, or anywhere in crypto, whether it be a coin, like you're taking on a huge responsibility to provide value behind that. And maybe it's just like that disconnect there, you know, like you have to be pretty crypto native to understand that like mindset. And even though Paris Hilton was like kind of kicking around crypto for a little bit, maybe it just didn't quite, she didn't quite get to that point, you know, but I don't know.
For sure. Hey Rizzle, I wanted to ask you, how is the Rizzle map project? Are you still bullish on that? What do you have working on that you probably could leak to me so I could get an early jump on? Forget these guys.
Yes. So a couple things going on. So my buddy Matt and I have been doing this podcast forever. That will continue. That was in existence.
Oh no, hold on guys. Fucking something just happened to the stream.
I think DeadStock just dropped.
Guys, I gotta go to the commercial break while I figure this shit out. All right? Because that was janky as fuck. Hold on 1 second.
Curveball. We
Where
need
is this
like
shit?
technical music when this happens, where you could get like just cut to the screen. That's like, yeah, we will be back. Yeah.
Nice.
I got the bag in my pocket when the cops pull me over. Shawty like, damn, why you not coming over? Wanna draw some bands on a rover. She just wanna party, ain't no plan on being sober. Never gotta flex when I cash out, broke boy. Always gotta checks in the racks out, oh boy. Always gotta check if she passed out. No point if I'm getting less when I max out. Tell me she forgot last night, of course. Used to rock Nike and my course. Used to have a dream I would buy a Porsche. Begging for the bag, I'm on life support. It's like we in the lobby, you ain't ready to. All I did was wait, now I got more stake. They like, why you so ahead of us? They say it hurts, I'm like, I bet it does. Why you always talk like we listen? Big mouth, probably turn the block to a kitchen. Can you hit me with the follow? I don't mind, tell me why you never called her. Tell me she forgot last night, of course. Used to rock Nike and my course. Used to have a dream I would buy a Porsche. Begging for the bag, I'm on life support. Now they wanna bet on us. It all happened like I said it would. Runners up, they like, why you still ahead of us? They say it hurts, I'm like, I bet it does. I might pull the lights out. When I'm rolling, I go lights out. Like your body's on me right now. Now one shawty on me lie down. Tell me she forgot last night, of course. Used to rock Nike and my course. Used to have a dream I would buy a Porsche. Begging for the bag, I'm on life support. It's
Damn, bro. Fuck. Give me a sec, guys. I gotta get DeadStock back in there. Let's go back to the, we'll be right back. Holy moly, that was janky as fuck. But we're back. You guys can unmute your mic. I got to now play checkers and everyone's in the wrong place. But we're cool. What were we talking about while I fixed this shit? What happened, DeadStock? You fucking went into the vortex, bro. You guys could talk now, though. We're back. You guys there? Rizzle, you hear me? There's a chat. Musical cams. Hello. Cheers. Cheers.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you guys could talk.
Be back.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back.
There we
Holy.
go.
What happened, Dad?
Bro, yo, so you were telling me about how it was storming in North Carolina, and literally just 5 minutes ago, I heard like a crack, 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 and all of a sudden, like the lightning. You know how the lights flicker, and then my router reset, so I got kicked off.
We got thunderstorms here right now too in Pennsylvania. Just so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Maryland, so we're all on the East Coast, so we're all getting storms at this point. Yeah, my bad, folks. It's live.
Holy moly. Yeah, there's thunder happening here. Shit. I thought DeadStock was dead.
It's never happened before. I was watching it. I'm like, oh, they all froze at the same time. I'm like, this never happened. And then I'm looking at my computer. I'm like, no Wi-Fi. I was like, we're live, folks. We are live.
Guys, you should be able to see us now. The stream is updated. I know there was a little bug there. You should be able to see us now. All right, we are clear. We are live. We are back. Okay, you can see us. All right. Holy
Isn't
shit.
that just a reminder of like how powerful Mother Nature is, and like we're living in this illusion where we just like have complete mastery over everything? It's just like one lightning bolt from the sky, fucking Zeus, just like
Well said, man.
Holy moly. Rizzle, I gotta respect your time. What is what do you have? What were we talking about? I was gonna fucking tell you about I guess another subject here before we go into questions. Is a lot of people were kind of duped by Queen's Flip and scammers and anon devs, and and then everyone started changing their profile pack to their original photos. Hey, you know, I'm a real girl, and it was funny to see all that shit. And what is your take on that? I mean, degens really don't do any research anyway, so it's kind of their fault. What's your take on it?
I mean, unfortunately, it seems like it was bound to happen, right? I mean, I honestly feel like the NFT space, like if you were around in crypto, like back, 2015, 2016, when like the big altcoin boom was like going crazy. And I feel like the exact same thing was happening, man. You'd have like 3 dudes spinning up a contract and then like, putting a slightly different name on it or a slightly different angle on it and just rolling out all these currencies and everyone's just buying into it. I mean, dude, obviously it sucks, right? I mean, I think the silver lining of like these scam projects, especially these scam projects that are like masquerading as charity projects, is that we've identified the fact that there is a lot of desire to buy into projects that support like positive things and support charity and support like good things in the world. So I feel like we probably need to move into a direction where people are more educated and not just buying into any random project with anonymous developers. I think Jim actually had a post earlier today that was talking about like how, pseudo-anonymous is one thing. You don't need to know my real name to know that I have clout in the space, to know that I've been around here for a while, to know that like my reputation is on the blockchain. And so, that kind of thing is fine. But like, straight up anonymous, like flying in out of nowhere, that these things are like, moonshots or like, a cement brick in terms of like, how it plays out. And, I think as the space continues to mature, we're going to get past that point, much like we did like in crypto in general, like prior to this to like some extent. But now, here we are in the Wild West of NFTs, like all over again.
And aren't people getting smarter now with these projects that are coming out that are even legit, that where they're even holding them accountable? Because it's like, okay, you came out with a 5,000 mint, a 8,000 mint, whatever it is. You just made a quick 1.5 million. That's wonderful that you did that, and we're supporting you. What the fuck are you going to do with that money now? Because you're basically a little company. You're sitting on a cash flow. Like, how are you going to give back to the community? How are you even going to build that? Like, will you even be here a year from now, let alone a few months from now, providing value still? Like, forget the roadmap, which the roadmaps are great, but like, how are you, like we were talking about before with celebrities, like you have the money, how are you going to execute now? Because you did the first step. Now, where are you going from here?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Dude, I think you had said it earlier, man, in terms of like how celebrities are viewing this. I feel like, this is probably just looked at, from an outsider who has no idea what's going on, who's like a celebrity, who's just like in the business of promoting themselves. This is probably like another piece of merchandise that you're just cranking out. This is like a digital piece of merchandise instead of like a physical piece of merchandise. So I think, probably to your guys' point earlier, like a lot of these, celebrities and famous people and athletes get into the space innocently enough, thinking they're just cranking out another, sports card or something like that. But a lot of these things flop, for the reasons that Jeremy had mentioned, that, there's it's a different angle when you're talking to people who collect things, especially people who collect like specific things. The people who collect specific things want specific things out of those things. They don't want just like another like tchotchke that they can just like put on the shelf as like some memento of their like favorite musician or something. They want these things to do things.
Absolutely. Speaking of things that are doing things, Penelope's Country Club is slowly getting eaten away. And shout out, Walshy, you want to say what the big news was on that today? Because it finally leaked.
Yeah.
Before Walshy jumps into that, guys, I actually got to dip out here. Yeah, I got to roll here, guys. But Riz, it was a pleasure meeting and connecting with you, sir. Guys,
likewise,
awesome
dude.
show as usual. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. And thanks everybody for tuning in. It was a lot of fun.
Do me a favor. You're gonna drop out right now, and then we'll switch to the four-way transition.
Okay.
Later, Jeremy. Love you, bud.
See you guys.
Later, buddy.
Yeet.
And it's janked. It's all right. We'll fix it. All right. So yeah, you want to say that? What happened?
So basically, with Penelope's today, I know I've been talking about it for a while. One of the developers, Carlini, has, I don't even know what the word is. He unanoned himself. He is no longer anonymous.
Oh, shit.
So
I didn't realize Carlini was involved. That's probably why.
Now we know.
Yeah.
I think that might be what's kind of perpetuating this this little bit of a hype up. Obviously, he has a wonderful reputation in the space as an anonymous individual. We can kind of track his past endeavors, though we don't know his true identity. So it's a great way to kind of segue out of what Rizzle was just mentioning. And Rizzle, I think we kind of got cut off. And if we already covered this, just let me know. You were just about to get into what you were working on. I know we're kind of short on time, so I'd hate to miss that part.
Sure, man. I'll give you the elevator pitch. So I got my own project. I'm not trying to say too much about it just yet.
Rizzle, sorry to interrupt you. Can you give it one more second so I could get this stream straight and make sure you're not all cut off? Give me 1 second. Sorry about this, guys. This is just when it happens when people
We're
drop.
just building up the hype right now. You know, he was about to,
man.
Hype
the Rizzle project.
I love it.
DeadStock has completely disappeared. Let me see.
I'm just the voice.
My chest is in one screen and my head's in the other.
What is chat saying? Because they're like, this guy's the fucking worst human on the planet, dude. I'm pretty sure chat is killing me right now.
It wouldn't be a good show if we didn't break a whole bunch of shit while I was here. This is pretty much.
Bro, you literally, I don't know if you're cursed, dude. It's Friday the 13th coming up.
Yeah, I'm probably cursed.
No, you're not, dude. You're fine. Hold on, guys. I'm almost done finishing the look. You can see it in real time how fucking crazy this shit is, actually.
Seems like every time we try to get into Rizzle's project, it breaks.
Rizzle looking good though. If you want, I'll go ahead and start doing it while he's fixing it up, because you look immaculate right now.
Yeah. You go ahead. You can go ahead, Rizzle.
Right.
I'm good now.
So I got a project in the spirit of the metaverse and interoperability. I feel very, very good about it. I have a dope ass developer that Snowfro hooked me up with, and one of my favorite artists in the space, whose name I won't announce yet, but if you pay close enough attention, you can probably figure it out. And it should be dope. I put the concept in front of several people in the space who I respect tremendously, including Jim McNellis from NFT42, my buddy Matt, who I've done like a billion projects with, a couple of my people from Token Smart. Everyone seems to think this is going to be some awesome stuff, and I'm honestly like giving myself so much FOMO because I'm working with this artist and he's like one of my favorite artists. So of course I'm like, dude, I just want to buy like all the shit that we're going to release.
That's a good sign.
So I don't even know if that was like a great call, but I am legit trying to make like a push towards something innovative, something interoperable, something that has not been done, or at least not been done much before. I'm not a developer. I'm not like anything but like an idea guy and like a mouthpiece, but I feel like I have a good enough take on like the overall landscape that I can see where the space is going. I feel like I was in on it early with Jim and like the whole on-chain thing. And I do feel like now is the push towards the metaverse. And so my project will be very, very much in the spirit of not the Facebook metaverse.
Damn. You're giving us some clues. That's cool. That's really cool. Is it going to be a metaverse?
It is not going to be a metaverse. It will be an NFT. It will be an NFT.
Yeah.
That should be enough of a run that people are able to get them. And then we'll have some interesting, let's see, how do I say this without like giving away too much alpha? So I'm deeply ingrained into the NFT community. And we're working out some mechanics where this NFT will not only be interoperable within the metaverse, but will also give back to the NFT the NFT community in perpetuity. We're sort of working out the ins and outs of how that works out, but I got a couple other people working with me on it. So we're going to lean heavy metaverse, heavy community, heavy, like, let's go innovation instead of like flash in the pan, sparkly stuff type of thing. But it will have some sparkly stuff because I'm involved in it's like really dope shit. So
yeah,
got it. It's going to be spicy.
I wanted
actually, yes.
I wanted to also say too, don't you have you and your son make NFT work, and where can people support that? Because I think that is something that the Ellen DeGeneres show is probably going to have you on very soon for something like that.
Dude, thank you very much. I appreciate you bringing it up. I should probably do a better job of like publicizing it. If you scroll through my Twitter handle far enough, you could probably find it. I'll try and post a link to it. Yes, my son is a legit like artist, I guess, as much as like an 8-year-old could be. I mean, like, dude just like draws and draws and draws and draws and draws and like loves it. And, you know, is interested in what I've been doing, was begging me to, you know, show some of his art to his crypto friends. So we minted a couple pieces of his art, you know, for runs of 5s at like $50. They sold through, mostly because my buddies like Walshy, you know, bought one of them, you know, to support my kid. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And my kid is fucking stoked, man. He knows Walshy by name. He knows all of his collectors by name. He talks about them. He talks about his like next one. You know, we're talking like, no, man. You can't just like flood the market with your shit. I know you crank out like 10 drawings per day, but you know, you got to like take your time, you know, do a good one. We'll stagger the release.
Give him some breadcrumbs.
Oh, dude, you know, what was dope, man, and like really like, you know, caught me in the feels was, you know, he was legit like, I would like to make a present for all my collectors. Can I make a piece of art and we can send it to all of our collectors? And I was like, dude, matter of fact, we can do that. You know, you got a little bit of money in your account. It's going to cost you a couple bucks. You can mint, you know, an NFT and we can send it to all the people who have collected your art up until this point. And he was like, yeah, I want to do that. And so we did, man. He made like octopuses smoking cigarettes, which is like kind of weird for an 8-year-old. I didn't want to like stifle the creative process, so we like talked about it like, afterwards. And sent it out to all his collectors, and it's just for fun, man. But it's cool to see like the community embrace him, and you know, I recognize that has, you know, something to do with my influence as well, but he's just so stoked, man. And we're not, you know, trying to drop his stuff for like 1 Ethereum or whatever. It's just an exercise in like, my kid likes to make art, you know, check out his art type of thing. And he's really, really fun.
He's literally like a very, a prodigy in a sense. Cause in 5 years, there's going to be classes where how to mint your artwork. You know what I mean? You're already doing that. So shout out to you. It's being a dope dad.
Shout out to the squids smoking cigs.
Dude, he really wanted to scroll for an Avastar, and now he's like literally giving me shit. He's like, now I can't scroll for Avastars anymore because the series capped. And why didn't you you didn't give me enough screen time the day that I wanted to scroll for Avastars. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like,
he's like,
you sound like an adult. You sound like a business.
He was right. I should have let him scroll for Avastars, to be fair.
I think we have another one or two questions, and then we're gonna roll out of here, bro. But I wanted to ask, and then I'll give the floor to the homies. But do you feel like you're in your purpose? Like, do you feel like all the shit you've been through in your life, this is where you're supposed to be at this point, creating NFTs?
Yeah. yeah, in the space, and somehow, man, I feel like I've sort of like wedged my way into this space, like bringing my purpose with me, you know, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why I've done all right, is just because, you know, I you know, came into this space with a fake screen name back in the day when it didn't matter, and I decided I was just going to be like as authentic as humanly possible and not give a fuck and just sort of see where it takes me. And so I've, you know, tried to be extremely genuine and shoot straight from the hip this whole time. And so I think because of my approach, that, you know, my purpose has sort of like manifested itself in this space where like somehow I've become like embraced for those qualities that, you know, just come like very natural to me. So dude, at this point, I'm like, I'm living the dream, man. I mean, just getting to fucking hang out with people like you and like rant and rave about like the shit that I love. Like, you know, who's more fortunate than this, right?
Damn, that's love. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you fucking continue to dominate. Guys, you got any other questions for the homie?
No, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to be with us, brother. Definitely appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise, guys.
Yeah,
And,
man.
and I'm gonna have to cop one of your son's pieces too. I mean, Walshy always shows me when he got him. Like, what was it, like a month or 2 months ago? He showed me the octopus with the cell phones. You know, Walshy just cracks up every time he talks about it. Honestly,
Yeah, Walshy's super early to shit that I don't even know.
And then when he
Yeah,
got the
man.
squids smoking cigs, I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to cop this young prodigy. So
Awesome. Yeah, right now it's you got to dig for it, but you know, who knows what'll happen. He's probably up there drawing right this second, to be honest with you. So we'll see.
nice, very exciting.
Yeah, Rizzle, just thanks a lot for coming on, bud. It's been a pleasure talking to you again.
Walshy, before we say goodbye, I need to do one game with you, all right, Rizzle? This is I posted this on my Twitter, and this is the first time I ever do something like this with a guest. I like comedy, and I put something called the speech of Degen. Literally, Degens have their own way of talking inside crypto Twitter, CT. And I put four quotes, and I want you maybe to add some. Maybe Walshy, you add something to this, and DeadStock. I mean, you guys already seen it, but these are my four. Guys, what we minting today? That's one. There is. Do you relate with that, guys? What are we minting?
Totally.
Yep.
Then you have. Can you share the Discord? Because some people seem like they can never find the Discord. I think this derivative punk is gonna fly. That's another quote.
I hear that one a little bit less.
And did Fame Ladies rug pull? And because we touched that earlier. Is there anything I'm missing there, Rizzle, that you hear that is just super funny in the speech of Degen?
Super funny. I mean, I know the lingo. I feel like show me your art. I still see like 10 of those per day. And then like all the jargon, man. I feel like, dude, every time I see like WGMI and NGMI, it seems like a sushi order to me, or like some sort of like high-end beef order or something like that. The GM for good morning, all this like the jargon is you know, expanding rapidly. You know, you got some pretty good ones there, man. But I'm actually pretty glad. I feel like I haven't seen like the show me your art.
Oh my god, that shit used to make me so angry.
Right?
I've got 5 ETH to spend. Show me your art.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a millionaire. Tell me what to do so I can get engagement.
Yeah, just engagement. So yeah, man, for the end of the dojo, we channel our inner senseis. Jeremy's not here, so we're gonna have his in the ether. I'm gonna have Walshy go first, DeadStock, me, and then you'll have the last word. Give some people words of advice, some encouragement, shill a product, whatever you want to do. Channel your inner sensei. Okay, Walshy, you go first, bro.
Right on, guys. So I guess my inner sensei is just kind of telling me to let all the viewers know what basically the same thing I always shill, and that's to get out there and network and meet as many people as you can. Diversify your friends network and your acquaintances network. And for me, that's been the most effective way to learn new things, to get out of the little echo chamber Discord groups that I'm in, because just hearing one train of thought from a bunch of yes men isn't going to help your journey in the NFT space. You need people to challenge your ideas. And you also need people to bounce your ideas off of. And that's my opinion. That's what I try to do. And that's basically how I came into contact with Rizzle, which was kind of a game-changing point in time for the, you know, the beginnings of Walshy. So yeah, I'll pass it on with that. And Rizzle, maybe if you have a chance, whenever it's your turn to channel your inner sensei, if you can just let our viewers know one of the challenges maybe that you've overcome since you've been in the NFT space, and a piece of advice for them as newcomers to the space.
Oh Jesus! All right.
DeadStock, you want to go?
Yeah, definitely. Mine will probably center around what we were talking about earlier, which is just, staying genuine, being authentic, because there's no point in trying to be anything else. Just be the best person you could be and all that stuff. And I was watching, what was it, the Kingsman the other day, the first one. And I always like the saying where he was like, manners maketh the man or woman, but because it's, people are going to judge you based on your mannerisms and your characteristics and your actions, and whether you're a project coming out or a creator or you're an influencer in the space or you're just jumping into the space. Like, it's important to just stay genuine with that stuff, stay authentic, because people, even when you put your best foot forward, they're going to see what they want to see anyway. They might not see the best in you, and you know what, fuck them, because when you build a nice group like we have here, you have a core group of people that are basically family that are going to rise up with you and have your back when shit goes down. So those are my sensei sayings for the day.
Oh, love you, bro. Love you, Walshy. I would say don't lead by position, lead by influence. That's it. All right, not from the top down, from the bottom up. You can flip everything to death if you want, but there's something about leaving a legacy and making people feel like they fucking made it away. Having a young kid, 12-year-old Rizzle's son makes art, all the crazy stuff that's happening. That shit is way more valuable in my sense than just the cash grab. So hold the reins, do your thing. Rizzle, you got the final word, bro.
All right, I'm trying to backtrack on what Walshy had asked me. In terms of like biggest challenges, man, I feel like I really struggled when the big money came into the NFT space, because I really felt like it was getting co-opted and that the people who built this space weren't going to get credit where credit was due. And I felt like, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears had been put into building the space up to what it was. And these people are just like trying to extract money from what we built, type of thing. And I've since sort of like tempered my, outlook on that. It's similar to what DeadStock was saying, that, I feel like there is a silver lining with like the influx of people coming into this space, and to a certain extent it is like inevitable. So I gotta just fucking chill like a little bit with it. But I do genuinely feel very protective of the people who built this space. I'm like, dude, these are like the Thomas Edisons, the Ben Franklins of our generation, and they deserve fucking credit for building this shit, full stop. So that has been a challenge to me. Shit, man, in terms of advice, I would just say, like, have fun, man. This space is like so fun, and I feel like people can tell if you're having fun or not, right? Like I'm on Twitter like all the time, and you can tell the artists who this is like a chore and like a grind for them, and they're just like, oh, like my life is so difficult to get this art out. And I'm like,
yeah, stop bitching.
This is so fucking fun, man. If you're like making money in this space, like let's not pretend like this is like so difficult, or this is some like, grind or like horrible task. Yeah, man, you get to do whatever the fuck you want, like finally. And there's like people out there willing to embrace it and like appreciate people like innovating and doing like weird innovative things with this technology and everything. So there's so much like nascent space within the NFT scene, in different directions, industries, like, so many places, so many things you could do with it, that if you can't find a way to have fun with it, you're like probably not in the right place. It shouldn't feel like a grind, unless you like grinding. I mean, I like grinding, but grinding is sort of fun. So there's like a, thing.
For sure.
Nice balance.
Yeah, grinding with a purpose. You got to know what you're grinding for.
There you go,
dude.
Man.
Rizzle, you've been a fucking dreamboat. I really appreciate your perspective and just getting to fucking know you. I'm happy I follow you. Everyone follow Rizzle at NFT Land. I can't even say it again. It's so simple. NFT Land. Okay, you'll see all his stuff. Maybe get the early alpha, hit notifications so you can get that early alpha on his projects. Dude, we thank you from the bottom of the dojo, and we look forward to getting you back on.
Super fun. It's been super fun. Yo, thank you guys very, very much. Really appreciate the conversation, and anytime, have me back. Love to do it again sometime.
Sweet.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Everyone, mute your mic. We're gonna go to the funny dance. I have to fly a kite out there in the thunderstorm, and I got a place to be. So later, y'all. Live the dream, eat ice cream, and above all,
stay content.
Stay content. Later, homies.
me that I was a leader, but I didn't wanna believe. I remember back in 09, I should have been dead in the streets. That was when me and Fly J was just hitting them, let's get something to eat. That was back when Francesca would let me hold on to them keys. I whipped round the city, burnt holes in the seats, trying to dodge police, hot box in the whip, try to spray it with Febreze. Young nigga so cold. I remember sneaking out my dad's truck just to scoop Tyrone. Crashed it into a pole, then I took it back home. Pops asked who did it, told him nah, I didn't know. Damn, I was lying through my teeth. That was back when I used to run around with freaky red and low key. Always kept it low key. Black rag, white G's. Wasn't taking no T's from the B's or the C's. Neutral niggas but reactive. That was back when we was popping pills and flipping bitches on the mattress. That was back when we was in the field and hoping lessons outlast us. Living life so fast, just never trying to go to classes. Playing Mr. in my headphones, Blackberry molasses.